My mom was given away for adoption and finally met her birth family after 50 years, but now they want her to care for the mother who gave her away. Posted by u/throw_ra_suit 9042. I, 35F, grew up in the US, born and raised in Austin, Texas. My father, 70M, is Canadian, and my mother, 68F, is Greek. Every summer, we vacationed in Greece with my maternal grandparents. When I was 25, my parents retired and moved permanently to Greece after my mother inherited a house and a significant amount of money from her mother when she passed away. That's when things took a strange turn. During the last few months of my grandmother's life, my mom went to Greece to care for her, as she was no longer able to take care of herself. In her final days, my grandmother revealed a shocking secret: my mom was adopted. She wasn't the biological child of the parents who raised her. Instead, she was the daughter of my grandmother's cousin. Apparently, in Greece, decades ago, it was common for struggling families with many children to give a baby to a relative who couldn't have kids. My mother was devastated. She grieved the fact that she never knew her real family and that no one ever told her. After my grandmother passed, she decided to move to Greece to reconnect with the biological family she had never met. She traveled to the region where her biological mother, 96F, lived and met her for the first time, along with two older brothers, 72M and 69M, and a younger sister, 65F. Her oldest brother was especially emotional because he vaguely remembered the day they gave my mother away as a baby. But from the start, my mom was hurt that none of them had ever tried to find her. Their excuse was that she had moved to the US, and it was difficult to track her down, while her biological mother said she had made a pact with her cousin, my adoptive grandmother, never to reveal the truth. The entire village had been told that my mom had died as a baby, so no one ever questioned it. For the past 10 years, my parents have lived in Greece, and my mom has built a close relationship with her siblings. However, her relationship with her biological mother has remained distant and formal. She never got over the fact that this woman kept all her other children but gave her away, likely because she was a girl. At the time, boys were valued more because they worked the fields and contributed to the family's income, whereas girls were seen as a burden. 2 years ago, I was able to move to Greece as well, since the parents who raised my mom left her a sizable inheritance. It allowed us to live comfortably, and honestly, I prefer the lifestyle here. We live in a beautiful place near the capital, and life is peaceful. Now, here's the issue. My mom's biological mother is now 96 years old and in very poor health. Her biological father passed away decades ago due to political circumstances. Her two older brothers, her sister lives abroad, have been taking care of their mother, but they are exhausted. Their wives are complaining, tensions are rising, and at a recent family gathering, they told my mom that she should also help take care of their mother because it's unfair that they are doing it alone. My father was furious when he heard this and told my mother to cut them off entirely. My mom refuses to take care of this woman. She doesn't love her, doesn't feel any emotional connection to her, and can't forgive her for abandoning her. My mom is not close to this woman, and of course, she has no legal claim to any inheritance from this family. However, she has truly enjoyed her relationship with her siblings and their children and doesn't want to lose that. She's feeling pressured, though, and she's deeply upset by their demands. When I found out, I was livid. How dare these people ask this of my mother, knowing full well that she was abandoned and that no one even attempted to find her. I feel like they're manipulating her, and she's unable to see how unfair this is. I'm getting married in a month to my fiancé, who is Greek and fully supportive of me, and I am seriously considering uninviting all of them from the wedding. I want to send a clear message that we don't want contact with them anymore. However, my mother is hesitant. She doesn't want to escalate things, even though she's hurting. I feel like she's not as attached to these people as she thinks. She's mourning the idea of the family she never had rather than truly loving these people. And I hate seeing her being taken advantage of. I always idealized Greece and the strong bonds of family, but now I see that's not always the case. I'm so disappointed by all of this. What would you do in this situation? Would you cut them off? Would you disinvite them from the wedding? How can I help my mother navigate this? Relevant comments. Commenter. It's your wedding, your choice. But it does sound like your mom wants a relationship with her biological siblings. If you uninvite them, and with your mom saying she won't help financially or physically to look after her biological mom, sadly, I'm sure they'll cut her off, which is unfortunate. I understand your mom being hurt by what her biological mom did. Was it a financial reason that she couldn't keep her? It sounds like they already had the two boys. But equally, she went on to have and keep another little girl after your mom, which must be upsetting. I would also be very angry that they led everyone to believe I had died at birth. I know different religions, cultures, etc., do things differently. I can totally understand if she couldn't cope and wanted to give your mom a better life, which it sounds like she definitely had. But to then keep another child afterward and lead everyone to believe I had died, just out of embarrassment for giving me up, I'd be upset, very upset. Ops response. At first, I thought it was for financial reasons, but it turns out that isn't the case. As I was informed by other Greeks, it was a common thing to do when a family member couldn't conceive. My grandma and grandpa couldn't have children, they were visiting that village from the US, and when my biological grandma gave birth to my mom, they asked for her. My biological grandma was working hard in the fields and thought it was a good thing to help her cousin. That's why she had another baby after my mother. They were financially stable and still have enough money, etc. It sounds completely crazy to me, but apparently, families did that. This is something that bothers me about my grandma as well. She went to a family, requested a child, and just took her away? I don't know, it seems insane to me. Update 3 days later. First of all, thank you so much for all the responses to my previous post. I decided to share it with my mom and let her read your comments. She was really moved by the similar stories some of you shared. This led to a deep conversation between us. Over the past few years, my mom has learned a lot about her adoption. Unfortunately, my biological grandmother was not a good person. The wife of one of my biological uncles, let's call her Maria, sat my mom down a few years ago and told her everything. It turns out my biological grandmother was a very strict and spiteful woman who treated the people who worked for her horribly. She never wanted daughters and even tried to give away her other daughter, but that adoption fell through, so she kept her. My biological aunt went through a really tough time growing up, which is why she moved abroad. Her brothers never supported her the way they should have and even cheated her out of part of her inheritance. Maria is now thinking about leaving her husband since their kids are grown, and she doesn't want to stay married to a man she knows isn't a good person. As for my mom, she never felt a bond with her biological mother. But after hearing everything from Maria, she's decided she doesn't want much contact at all. She knows exactly what kind of people her biological brothers are and never wanted a super close relationship with them. They're not in daily contact anyway, but she does feel attached to her nieces, nephews, and their wives. That's the main reason she hasn't cut ties completely. My mom has decided she will help financially but won't take her biological mother into her home. She's doing it mainly to support her biological sister, who is under pressure from their brothers to care for their mother. My mom has tried to get closer to her biological sister over the years, but her sister has kept her distance. She explained that she has deep trauma from growing up with their mother and wants to maintain some emotional space. But she's still happy they met. This past Christmas, my biological aunt came to Greece and stayed at our house. I wasn't there because I was visiting friends in the Netherlands, but my mom and her sister spent time together, and it brought them closer. My aunt told my mom to cut off her brothers completely and even invited her to move to her country. She has made it clear she wants only a formal relationship with the rest of the family, except for my mom, whom she loves dearly. Side note for the skeptics, my aunt is financially independent and comfortable. She has never asked my mom, or anyone else, for anything. I had no idea about most of this because my mom didn't want me to see my uncles in a bad light. She still thinks she'll keep some minimal relationship with them, but she's especially close with a few of her nieces and nephews and doesn't want to lose that. One of my cousins, Maria's son, even confided in my mom that he wants to cut ties with his father. When my biological uncle asked my mom for help, this cousin, who's only 25, pulled her aside and told her to stay away and not give them anything because they don't deserve it. That really got to me. It showed me that not everyone in this family is selfish or manipulative. I actually have a good relationship with this cousin. He gets along great with my fiancé since they work in the same field. After learning all this, I met up with him last night, and we talked. He has moved out on his own but still keeps some contact with his dad, mainly because he wants to wait until Maria leaves before cutting ties completely. He told me that his father and uncle inherited a lot of wealth and never really had to work. They started some businesses, but when they struggled, they took large sums of money from their mother and other relatives. Now they've recovered and live comfortably, but they never paid back what they owe. My cousin is ashamed of his family's actions and doesn't want to be judged for them. He also believes they are trying to financially exploit my mom. Because he cares about her and really respects my parents, he warned them not to get involved. After everything, my parents and I made a decision. My mom will give one lump sum of money for her biological mother's care. Whether they put her in a nursing home or hire a caregiver is their problem. She will also have a final talk with her brothers to make it clear that she is not taking care of their mother because that woman was never a mother to her. When Maria manages to get divorced, which my parents want to support her through, we expect the relationship with the brothers to fall apart. My mom is still sad that she never found the ideal family she imagined, but she feels lucky to have her sister, Maria, and her nephew, whom she truly loves. As for the wedding, we decided to invite them to avoid unnecessary drama. That's the update for now. I truly appreciate all the comments and support. I feel sorry for those who have gone through similar painful experiences, and I hope no one has to go through this again. P.S. Someone in the comments, probably a Greek, suggested that my biological grandfather might have died for political reasons because he was fighting against the Nazis. Unfortunately, it was the exact opposite. My biological grandparents were right-wing extremists at a time when the left-right conflict in Greece led to suffering and deaths. A lot of their wealth came from unethical means. Lastly, I feel terrible for ever doubting my grandparents, the ones who actually raised my mom. They were amazing, kind, and compassionate people who helped so many others in the US. Everything they had was earned through hard work. I'm so grateful they adopted my mom, and I wish they had also taken in my aunt. Thank you again, everyone. If I have another update, I'll be back. Relevant comments. Commenter. She's still being taken advantage of. They will ask for more money. It's always the same story, the brothers get the money, and the one taking care of the elders is someone who has nothing to do with those swindlers. Ops response. No, really, my mom knows what she's doing. She will give an amount of money if they agree to never ask her such a thing again. The amount will be relatively small, around 3,000 euros, and she is ready to cut them off entirely if they ever mention it again. It's not the ideal solution for me either, but I am glad my mother met Maria, and I want her to be safe. The reason I came here on Reddit in the first place was that I didn't want my mom to get hurt. Now I know she understands what types of people her bio brothers are, so I'm okay with whatever decision she makes. Commenter 2. Do you trust the uncles to actually use the money for grandma's care? I feel like they might just pocket it and claim that your mom didn't help. Ops response. No, I do not trust them, but neither my mother nor I really care if they actually help their bio mother. My mom has already spoken with Maria and her sister, and they are aware of her next move. She wants to give the money to help those poor wives taking care of their mother-in-law, who made their lives a living hell. I'm so happy my mother knows everything about her bio brothers. That was my concern in the first place. Commenter 3. Why are you still inviting them to your wedding? How is that going to avoid drama? Ops response. Well, my wedding is in less than a month. They are already invited. If I take back the invitation, they will definitely become offended, at the very least. I genuinely want their wives there, especially after learning the truth about their lives and their opinions on the situation, and my cousins. Some of my cousins are relatively young and still attached to their fathers, so there's a good chance they will be offended if I uninvite their fathers. So, we decided to keep them invited to avoid all these issues. My mom plans to talk to them about the money, etc. After the wedding. We have a lot to organize until then anyway, but if they push harder for an answer sooner, there's a good chance they won't attend anyway. Commenter 4. Why would she give them anything if they have all that money? It makes no sense to me. Ops response. Well, my mom is in a significantly better position compared to her biological brothers. She wants to give them some money so they can sort out what they're going to do, a house nurse or a nursing home. The main reason she decided to do this is to help Maria, who is doing most of the caregiving. Maria needs some time to organize things regarding her divorce, but she's always busy. Another reason is that a part of my mom still feels bad for her brothers. She realizes they're not exactly good people and doesn't mind losing them if they won't respect her boundaries, but she did tell me that they never really had a chance to become better people. So, she kind of feels like she can give them some money to help them have options for their mother, maybe enough for a down payment on a nursing home. She knows she isn't obligated to do this, but it's what she wants. I'm not a huge fan of the idea, but I support her.